Welcome back to the Xuan character reviews. Our next character in the second core character group is Claire. Clearly inspired by a certain very cool KOF character, she has appeared since that legendary cinematic intro. Claire is characterized as a nice user, and a British fighting girl who attends college. What to say about her design? Well, that at first glance she doesn't look that unique, but also that she doesn't exactly remind any other character. Her clothes are pretty much brand new, with a cold blue color palette. But as you begin seeing her in motion, it's easier to find the inspirations behind her. Her stance is just the same as Von Janet from Garou Mark of the Wolves, and many animations and poses clearly taken from Kula. And I said I wanted to keep the KOF comparisons at minimum, but in this case the inspiration is just too clear to allow you to see her in a different light. I mean, her moves are basically the same. The poses and animations are many times just exactly the same thing or almost the same. Okay, point taken. Now let's talk a little more about her design. She wears a sort of bell bottoms, and let's not miss the tight bands around them. Not unlike Kula, and she covers her upper body with a deep blue tank top and a sky blue blazer over it. I got to say, the outfit looks pretty nice. Of course, she has those hanging belts on her hips, but I will dare to say in this case, it actually fits well the design. And then she has her hands covered with gauntlets that don't break the balance either. Her nails are painted in ice blue, a very clever detail actually. Now, Claire is your standard British girl, but perhaps she is a touch younger than the regular fighters from the kind, to the point she looks like a cutie doll. Well, her hair is certainly sort of different than your regular blonde, as she doesn't keep her hair loose, but her ponytails and her bangs are too long to care about that. An important part of her design are those big, watery, ice blue eyes that they seem to emphasize in the trailers and artworks, and I got to admit they look stunning. It's important to notice she had two initial artworks. I mean, the first one was a sort of prototype in which she looked chubbier and her face a little too mellow for my taste, like something taken from strawberry shortcake. It seems they later guessed she didn't look very well in that one, so they decided to change it, and I can say for sure it was for the better. Claire was supposed to be a college student, and with the new artwork that was easier to tell. They changed the dopey cutie face from the initial artwork to a different expression that makes her look more mature, more serious, but also like a more empathetic and sensitive person. Her background states she is a rich girl who likes reading Shakespeare works. Oh, what a cliché, but she also has an interest in caring for poor people. And I must say, the way they depict her visually is actually convincing. Not to mention, in contrast, there's another point of her personality that's explained on her backstory. She is said to have been Jan's girlfriend at certain point, but then he dropped her because she was overattached and too jealous. Like, insane jealous. The Charlotte song in the lobby was, I guess, added to tie in with her attitude. But in the actual gameplay we see nothing of this reflected. She is a kind, serious, professional fighter with a very restrained attitude. There's nothing you can say about her being emotionally driven, not even when she is fighting Jack. As for gimmicks as a character, she doesn't have many. Her wing pose and wing quote, turning her back to the opponent and saying something about the moon. You know. Her blazer has soon the England flag on it, what sort of reminds me characters like Billy Kane from KOF, and just to draw another more comparison with Kula, she calls for a partner in her maximum super. Like Foxy and Diana, but that's probably just an unfortunate coincidence. Well, on a closing note about the design, I can say I really like this character, especially from the second artwork onwards. She has a fine personality you can admire. I am also a fan of her voice acting that clearly fits the character and rounds her up so well. Some people compare her character to Blue Mary from KOF, and yes, I think there's something of her in Claire. But not so much you can tell them to be characters completely apart from each other. As for her alternate costume, I don't think it's bad, but it looks a little lackluster. You can say for sure it adds more edge and personality than the original outfit, but some people argue it's still too similar to classic Claire. Of course, I have to admit I like how her hot pants and high leather boots look. It's too damn sexy, but as for the rest, I'm not convinced by her blazer jacket with a high neck, and the short hairstyle doesn't look very good, especially in the in-game graphics. While there's a couple things to like about this costume, I still find it less solid than the main one. By the way, Claire had a prototype design too, one version that looked even more pale with light blue hair and remind me much of a support character Isolde from KOF 2002 Unlimited Match. Just like Jan, you can find what I guess was going to be her original costume in a certain stage, and I think it looked pretty interesting. I'd like it to return in some form.
Claire!
And about Claire's gameplay, I have to confess, and I should probably feel guilty about it, I like her more than Kula. Yes, I prefer her to the original. I simply happen to prefer very much her slide attack over those slopey ballet kicks from Kula, which I have never been able to connect correctly. I also appreciate how her ice moves actually do freeze her opponent for a brief moment, and her Shoryuken move has a couple follow-ups that work pretty well with the mix-up. Hell, even her flying kick move, that at first I thought was a token we are not completely ripping off an existing character move, actually excels for the mix-up and rushdown because of the two different versions. Another one of her original special moves is a cancelable Shadow Run teleport that improves her game style even further. Just like Tsukikage Arashi is an improved version of Freeman, I think here Tencent hit just the right notes and they delivered a good evolution of Kula's gameplay with Claire. But that's just my opinion. Also, I really like her song in the move list video. In a closing note, Claire is a likable design and a likable character after all, but doesn't have all to be attractive and memorable. Her gameplay is okay, so in the end there's nothing to complain about her. It's completely up to you loving her or not. So this has been my character review for Claire, and stay tuned for future reviews very soon on this channel, because next time we have a date with the purple eyes. See you later!
Winner!
Watch the victor's shadow under the moonlight.